So I guess with the help of this great priest who looks after my soul, I guess I must have done it better than I thought, because I was really genuinely surprised to be asked. I was down in Washington for meetings. There's a group called the Administrative Board of the Bishops' Conference, and the Apostolic Nuncio, the Pope's representative, has us over for dinner, typically one of those nights. So, of course, I went along for the ride, and when I went into the nunciature, the Vatican Embassy, Archbishop Vigano said very discreetly, he said, "Bishop, maybe later on we can have a word." And I said, well, okay. And there's always a little business to do, so I thought, well, I'll go upstairs and maybe get a glass of wine. But it wasn't to be, because he pulled me into a parlor, and then when he said, "Bishop, you had better sit down," I said, "This is serious." And he just very quietly and easily asked me, he said, "Archbishop, I'm very happy to tell you that our Holy Father has decided or selected you to go to the Archdiocese of Baltimore," and he asked if I accepted. And within about 20 seconds, my life changed. And since then, he and so many others have been so helpful in getting ready for what lies ahead. It just happens in a heartbeat. But you got the ball rolling, I'd have to say. Other questions or comments? Please.
One more, Archbishop. I assume I can call you Archbishop.
Sure. That's what my mom calls me.
Obviously, you've gotten a higher profile recently with your work on the Ad Hoc Committee for Religious Freedom, testifying on Capitol Hill, particularly on the HHS contraceptive mandate. You're going from a 1-county diocese to a 10-county archdiocese. Do you foresee having to give up that work as chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee? To handle both, and your thing with the Knights of Columbus?
No doubt about it. It's a very full plate. Obviously, when you have a plate that full, you need a lot of good assistance. And I think that good assistance is abundantly available in the Archdiocese of Baltimore, as it was here in Fairfield County. So I, among other things, I'm blessed with 2 auxiliary bishops in Baltimore, Bishop Madden and Bishop Rosansky, and they will certainly assist me in the pastoral care of the diocese and what appears to be a wonderful, professional, hardworking staff. And so I think that will help quite a bit. The distances are much greater, as you observe. Western Maryland, and you'd think, having been a resident of Maryland for so many years, you'd think I would know this, but if you go out into Allegheny County and you go to the very end, you are almost as far west as Pittsburgh. And that did give me some thought that I'll be putting a lot more mileage on my car. But of course, it's going to be a big challenge. And of course, my first and foremost responsibility has to be whatever diocese I'm serving. It can't be any other responsibility cannot overshadow that. That said, I think in many ways, with the Ad Hoc Committee on Religious Liberty, I will be a little bit closer to Washington. I won't be on the U.S. Airways shuttle every morning or many mornings at 6 a.m. I'm closer to those congressional hearing rooms. And so I think that will actually work out well. And the Knights of Columbus are very kind to me in recognizing my first responsibilities as being those of the diocese. But with the ad hoc committee, we are moving forward in a very strong way, and we plan to continue doing so.
Do you have a statement coming out from that committee soon on religious liberty?
We do. Last week, the administrative board issued a very strong statement indicating the unity of the bishops in struggling against the narrow definition of the church that is embedded in the exemption to the HHS mandate, and our resolute determination to struggle for our liberty to deliver educational and healthcare services in accordance with the faith that inspires these works, and also to defend the rights of individual employers who may have conscientious objections. And so we put out a very strong statement last week, and now there will be coming out soon a sort of a more foundational statement, one that looks more reflectively at the origins of religious liberty, how it is described in church teaching, how it is described in the foundational documents of the church, and what are the more global, I want to say global, but what are some of the broader threats to religious liberty beyond the HHS mandate? And what we're going to do with that is use it for all kinds of communications. For example, pamphlets, bulletin inserts, apps. Yes, there will be a religious liberty app. There will be blogs, all kinds of communications like that. It's going to sort of be our foundational statement for all of our communications going forward.
Do you have any plans to speak at any of the rallies this Friday for religious liberty?
No, I'm just not able to do it, but I've gotten a lot of invitations, and there's where I really have to be careful, because invitations sort of come in a lot more than they used to, and I try to accept them selectively with an eye toward doing my first job and serving my first love.
Sure. And as the Supreme Court begins oral arguments next Monday on Obamacare, do you have any thoughts on that?
We'll just be watching it carefully. Obviously, it could have some effect on what we're doing, and what we're interested in. I would just say that the bishops have been in favor of universal access to health care since the conference was founded in 1919. So we're a little ahead of on that position. But all along, we argued that the health care reform bill should have adequate conscience protection. It got passed without it. And we didn't go looking for this, but we have it, and we're going to pursue all the remedies available to us as citizens in all three branches of government, continuing discussions with the administration, legislative remedies, and of course litigation as well. Okay. Any other questions? Please.
How about what you get in the same-sex marriage issue down in Maryland? What kind of strategy might you take?
Well, thank you for asking that question. The legislature, the General Assembly in Maryland did pass a same-sex marriage law, and it was signed into law. And now there will be a referendum. In fact, there will be two referenda items. One is a referendum about same-sex marriage, and the other is about the DREAM Act. And the bishops of Maryland are supporting the DREAM Act because we are pastors of souls, and we believe that these young people who are in immigrant families that are productive and are paying taxes should have opportunities to advance, that this is for the common good. With regard to the referendum on same-sex marriage, obviously, I will join with my brother bishops in a clear and consistent teaching about the nature of marriage as between a man and a woman and as predating any government or any church as a fundamental structure of society. But what strategy we end up taking, I don't know yet. I'm just a little too new to the scene to know that. I suspect in the weeks ahead, as I go down to Baltimore and meet with the Maryland Catholic Conference, I'll become a lot more acquainted with how we're going to approach it. But I think plans, as I understand them, are pretty far along. So, okay, other questions?
Bishop, I think a couple of the reporters would like to do a quick one-on-one with you.
Sure, real happy to do that. Listen, thanks everybody for coming. One more thing, pray for me, and pray that I'll do the Lord's work as the Lord would want me to do that work. And let me just say that I know you have a challenging job. It's not easy to be a member of the media today, and I just want to say I thank you for what you do. I admire what you do, and I ask God to bless you in your work too. Thank you all so very much. Thank you.